We are just waiting for Gordy. He stepped out for a few minutes. This is Michelle.
Hello.
Our intern, and I do marketing. And we have Olivia here, who's going to make a brief appearance, and she is the reader coordinator. So,
yep.
Yeah, so I don't know if you guys have any questions that you want to send over. We're going to have Josh Nathan, who participated in the Werner Herzog's Road Film School. He's going to answer a few questions, and Gordy is going to answer a few questions, and yeah, so it'll be a good time, and we're just trying to make sure we tweet out the link to everyone right now so they know where to see this. And well, actually, Michelle, I just tweeted. I did the auto share thing, so it's like I'm broadcasting live, so that should work, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So it should have a link on Facebook and Twitter right now. I don't know if we're getting any questions or response yet. So
Is there anyone?
Okay, cool. It looks like a lot more of you guys are tuning in right now. I think this time probably works a lot better for most of you guys, just seeing as, most of us on the West Coast don't get off work till 6:30. But if you have any feedback on that, just let us know. And, we're always kind of trying to make these Ustreams better. We don't have any ads on this one. We didn't have any ads on the last one, which is good because I know the first one is kind of a disaster with that. So, yeah, and next week we're going to have, hopefully, fingers crossed, a pretty exciting participant next week as well. We just actually talked to him. He was in here for a few hours, and hopefully we will know that soon. So,
are the comments working for everyone? Because last time we didn't know if everyone's comments were being posted.
Yeah,
right?
So there's a difference on the right side. You can either post
stream and chat.
Right, the social stream and chat. And we're going to check both just to make sure, we get all your questions and everything. But, just make sure that, if you want to ask anything that, just let us know. Keep us updated. Tweet at us, Facebook us if something's not working or you can't get your questions through and all that. So, and we have a few questions from, from last time and a few weeks ago, and just kind of all that people have been emailing in that they want us to answer on the Ustream. So we'll be able to do that really soon after Gordy kind of, does his thing with Josh, our guest for tonight, and then goes into his own questions. What does it look like? We're getting some right now, or?
Only one person submitted a question, but someone else said the comments are working, so.
Okay,
That's good.
That's good. I mean, yeah, I know you guys are all waiting for Gordy, so, as are we, but, what about the social stream? Is anyone?
No, nothing on the social stream.
Yeah, last week we were getting kind of a lot of stuff on the social stream, and, we didn't even think to check that, but then after a few minutes we go on there and we're just like, oh no. So, we're going to check both this time, and then actually people were commenting last time, if you go down to the bottom,
here?
Or no, if you just scroll down a little bit. They're commenting there. I know, I just saw that last week. So we're aware of all the places you guys are posting and trying to trick us and everything, and we will make sure all your questions get answered. So
does this time work better than the earlier times?
Yeah, we kind of touched on that, but just anyone in the chat. Okay, we have a yes, a yep. Someone has a question. 6:30. I know it's a little late on the East Coast. 9:30 over there. 9:30 to 11:30. But you're all writers, so you should be nocturnal, and kind of that time should hopefully work for you guys. But we got one yes and one yup. I'm just gonna assume that means yes. Better time, definitely. Okay, good. We shouldn't go later, right? That's probably too late. I mean, it works out on West Coast time because, most people, like I said, don't get off work for a while, so I don't know, we gotta think about people in New York and the Midwest and all that stuff, so.
No later than 7.
Yeah, no later than 7. probably.
Yeah.
All right. We got Gordy back.
And yeah.
Guess I'll
What's
give
up,
this-
everybody? I'm just eating some peanuts. Hey, you know what? I know you guys are excited that I just got this new Archie doll. I mean, it's lame. I know you're like, why? You know, why is everybody... Okay. It's awesome, though. This is another thing that I know that you guys will totally dig.
Bruce.
Is this Bruce Lee thing. Check this out. Is this not the dopest thing ever? Look at that. He's got these nunchucks, and it's also sort of movable, too. Isn't that nice? And his arms move. It's just so good. So I got this for my 50th birthday. You know, I got comic books and toys. And I'm turned 50, so something's wrong. Anyways, we'll put this bad boy back over there. How are you? So we're starting it a little bit later tonight so that more people can watch. Should we send out a newsletter right now and let everybody know?
Oh, we posted on Twitter and Facebook.
Right, but should we send out a newsletter right now and say Gordy's on Ustream?
I can do that.
Yeah, why don't we do that? Say like, check out right now. Gordy's on Ustream right now, and maybe we'll. Anyways, well, we're excited. Thank you for everybody's submissions. Last week, right? Last October 15th, we had our regular deadline. Our final deadline is November 15th. This is it. This is it. Our submissions periods ends on November 15th. So if you've already received your feedback, or if you've entered by October 15th, you'll be getting your feedback. We're trying to turn the feedback around quickly. How quickly are we starting to send it out?
Everything's being sent out.
Do we have all the scripts farmed out to readers? We should introduce Olivia. Olivia is our reader coordinator. She is the person that helps me hire all the readers. She does all the scouting and then sends basically what people do when they apply to read at BlueCat is they apply, send a resume, and then we kind of screen who they are. We make sure that they've either had experience reading or they've graduated with a film degree, and then we give them a script and they do a test, basically the same analysis that you ever get, and then everything comes to me and I look it over and I approve whether or not they're hired or not based off of their analysis. But Olivia sends all the analysis out. She farms out all the scripts, and so she's the one who's like, you get the emails from or whatever. So we are getting, we got a big pile last Wednesday. How many are there still? Have we gotten those out to readers? Are we still getting them out?
They're still being sent out. I'll send more out on Friday. On Monday, I think I sent out over 200 scripts.
Okay.
That included shorts and features. So
right.
Your analysis is coming back, and I'm sending it to you guys as quickly as I can.
Yeah. So I mean, what we're trying to do is, all the analysis is due back by November 10th, right? So November 10th.
Yeah.
But we want to get it back to you as soon as possible. So, that's what we're endeavoring to move it faster. So we do say like, all the analysis comes, if you enter by November 15th, you get the analysis by February 1st, just because we know we get so many by that time. But we're going to try and get it back as soon as possible, and we send out the scripts chronologically, right? I mean, according to what the archive number is. So if somebody enters like today, October whatever it is, 22nd, and then somebody enters on November 1st, October 22nd script is going to get farmed out, and the analysis is probably going to. We don't guarantee, but that's how we do it.
Yes.
We send it out. We don't mix them all up. So everything gets sent out, and so yeah. So everything we really want it to. We are endeavoring, and this allows the people that did submit on the 15th that they can get their feedback back by like maybe Halloween or something, and then they've got 2 weeks if they want to resubmit. But November 15th is when everybody needs to get their resubmissions back in. Everybody needs to submit for the first time. Everything is in November 15th. So, and then anything that's submitted. So if you're resubmitting by November 15th, you'll get your analysis on your resubmission back by February 1st. And then February 1st is when all of it's due. And then we announce the top 10% on February 15th or March 1st? Do you know? Can we look up on the rules? I know we switched it around this year because we were trying to make it so that that the I can find out right now. We switched it around because we wanted to make sure everybody had their feedback before we made an announcement, because people were questioning why they thought that was weird or something. I don't even remember. But so yes, this is when we competition results. So top 10% will be announced February 15th. So February 15th, but all the feedback will be back by February 1st. So everyone will have their notes, and then 2 weeks later, we announce the top 10%. So man, I can't even believe we're talking about the end of the deadline. It's almost November. And it's exciting. We've got a lot of scripts, and we're really excited. One of the things I want to announce is next Wednesday. We don't have confirmation, but we should have confirmation very shortly. Next Wednesday. Oh, there, Olivia just left the picture. Well, Olivia's here tonight. So if you have any questions about analysis or when do you get them or anything that has to do with your analysis and stuff, we can talk to Olivia a little bit about that. I know we said we were going to have Emily, who answers the emails and does all the processing and stuff, but she couldn't stay tonight. We moved the time because we wanted to do it a little bit later. Alrighty, so yeah, next Wednesday night, I think there's a chance that we're going to have the winner of BlueCat this year, the 2014 winner, H.F. Crumb. And he just won. Well, first of all, he was in the Find Independent Lab with his project. He got signed with a manager after he won BlueCat, because he won BlueCat. And he got in this lab. And I mean, I say because he really wrote a great script, and that's why he got signed by the manager. But the manager read it because they got it from us. And he just won Slam Dance. Just won the grand prize at Slam Dance for feature screenplay last week. So he's on a little bit of a roll with his script, and so he's got a lot to talk about. He's got a lot of things that he can share with you. He's a really great guy, super smart, cinephile, really fun, and big time great guy. One of the really sweet guy. And we're going to have him next Wednesday night. We're going to really try and let everybody know about that because he's really cool. And if you want to know how to write something that wins BlueCat and Slam Dance and get in, I mean, he's just like, he's got a lot of stuff going on. And he's also a remarkable guy. So we got to get confirmation of him tonight, but he already said that he was going to come. You know what? The other thing we did was we bought tickets to the IMAX for Interstellar. Is anybody going to see that? It's pretty awesome. We're gonna there's a big new, the Grauman's Theater in LA, famous theater. It was converted into an IMAX. It's really beautiful. They did a really great renovation, and so we just bought tickets for the whole BlueCat office is going to go see Interstellar in a couple of weeks when it comes out on IMAX. We're really we're stoked about that. You're wondering, why are you going to movies? Aren't you supposed to be handling the competition? Well, it's going to be a little bit of a night thing. We're all going to go, but we're still actually going to have people. This is the time of the year when we have people in the office on like all around the clock, and it's exciting. I know Archie's excited, and Bruce Lee as well.
Don't forget Daryl.
And Daryl Strawberry is another one. I don't know if we've ever kind of gotten into Daryl Strawberry, but he's also a massive figure with. And I know you might not be a Mets fan or a Dodgers fan or anything or whatever, but Daryl Strawberry. It's a very long story. It's basically it's its own Ustream subject all on its own. So, but tonight we have a great guest for you tonight, Josh Nathan. He is a very, very interesting young man. He got out of school and immediately started working. He was an intern on The Master and by Paul Thomas Anderson. Obviously, you know who that is. And and he continues to do work with the producers of Paul Thomas Anderson's movies. He's working on Inherent Vice right now. And he's a filmmaker in his own right. His film has gone around the world. It was sold. He made a short film, and it was sold and got distribution overseas. What we wanted to bring him in specifically to talk about, but you can ask him any questions. He can't really talk about his stuff with Paul Thomas Anderson because he will be assassinated. He will be poisoned with a lethal dart. Like a poison brownie will be administered if he talks about anything that has to do with what's great about Olivia being here is she's sort of a laugh track, which I like. I like the laugh track.
You're welcome.
You can just go ahead and laugh out loud. Don't try and suppress it. But so we're not going to take a lot of Paul Thomas Anderson questions. You can ask away. Maybe we'll pick a couple that Josh feels comfortable asking, but please respect that. But what's exciting is that he also worked on Lincoln, the Spielberg movie, and he worked on Dark Knight Returns, or what was the third one? The shitty one. Oh, I didn't say that. I'm going to see Interstellar, okay? So give me a break on that. I'm sorry, all you Nolan fans. Anyways, it wasn't the best one, was it? You know, it wasn't that great. Anyways, but he worked on that too. But, you know, he's got to help everybody out. He's Josh Nathan. I mean, he's the man. So he can tell us a little bit more. But what he did which was really exciting, was he got accepted to the Werner Herzog Rogue Film School. It's a very exclusive program. And he's going to tell us, and you go, and then for a whole weekend, you're immersed in a lab, like a workshop, a lecture situation with Werner Herzog, and he learned a lot there, and he had a whole experience there. And I believe he can talk about that. He's been sworn to secrecy in so many things that I just, you know. Anyways, well, we'll bring him on. So let's bring on Josh Nathan. I always like we have this little entrance. It's very, look at him. He looks like there he is. Josh Nathan. Amazing.
Okay.
You see the Daryl Strawberry poster in the back there, dude? I mean, it was in the other office. You're wondering, where did it come from? But it was always there, but it was moved to the other office, and now it's back. So, you know, the Daryl Strawberry thing is totally weird. So the camera, so there's Josh. So Josh, all right, so tell us about you. When you went to college, you were on a football scholarship.
Yeah, so I'm from a small town in Kansas, 1,500 people, and all I did was play sports, football, basketball.
You were a fullback.
I was a running back.
You were a running
back.
back.
Tailback.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I went to a small school called Bethel, nearby my hometown.
Bethel in Kansas. So
yeah, it's in North. Yeah.
Bethels.
Yeah, Northern Kansas.
And it's like a Division 1A or football program.
Yeah.
You got a football scholarship.
Yeah. And I played for 2 years. It was great. But I think I was over sports and sort of always interested in film, and kind of jumped off a cliff and decided to go to the University of Kansas to study film without much background in it. So did that, and that ended up being a great thing. Met a lot of great people. Met my man Gordy.
Yeah.
And I was there for 3 years. And when I graduated, I had the opportunity to get on the master.
Well, tell me about what, because this is the inevitable question, is do you go to film school or not?
Yeah, I think you do. For me, it was great because it introduced me to the medium. I'm from a place where there's no film culture. Nobody's talking about it, nobody's making it. You know, the closest theater is 15 miles away, and they're getting, you know, the top 5 films that are making money.
Yeah.
And so for me, it was necessary and it was important because I needed to be introduced to it. For somebody to say, this is the world of film, there's something more than what you know, welcome. But I don't think it necessarily has to be for everybody. I think if you have the means, or if you're already in Los Angeles or New York or in a place where you can kind of dig into a film culture and learn about it, fine, great. You know, it's maybe not for everybody, but for some people, and for me, it was great.
Did you when you how did you find? First of all, how did you find out how you want to write and direct films?
Mm-hmm.
You sort of want Werner Herzog's job or Paul Thomas Anderson's job or what they sort of do.
Sure.
Now, how do you know that? I mean, how did you find out that for yourself?
I think just through time, being around film, dipping into different things, whether that was in film school or even coming out to Los Angeles and being on film sets or working in post-production and seeing what a lot of different people do. I first was interested in it and was making my own films in school. And one of the films you mentioned that did get distribution was my undergraduate senior film that I made and was distributed.
Well, now tell us about that. Tell us about, you made it in school, and then what did you do with it submission-wise, and how did it end up to be getting, a distribution,
What I did was, part of the great thing about film school is you can make it your own. You can take advantage of a lot of equipment, a lot of facilities, and use it to your benefit. And I was lucky to have that support and the wherewithal to take advantage of that. My senior year, I got an undergraduate research award to help out, to fund it, make a little budget. And once I got that undergraduate research award, there was 2 options. I could write a paper or I could make a film. So, obviously I went to make a film, and that was a good beginning. I'd messed around with making films, but I had my professor Robert Hurst was pushed me, and when I wanted somebody else to write it, he said, "No, you got to write this. This is your thing." And doing that, taking that step, being pushed to do that, and sort of take control, outside of a class, outside of somebody saying, "Do this, do this, do this is when it's due." I had a great experience making that project, and once it was finished, I submitted it to, 10 or 15 festivals. Some were bigger, some were middle-sized festivals. Got into a few, and that was great. And at some point, my good friend Kyle Morrison, who helped out on the film, said to me, check out Shorts International. Shorts International, they distribute all the shorts that are available on iTunes. They distribute the Oscar-nominated shorts when they play in the theaters. And they have their own television channel. So at some point, I sent my film to them. They wrote back, said, "We're interested, here's a contract." And we worked out a few kinks. And that contract initially was for Taiwan, Turkey, and the U.S., which is sort of a weird mix. And then later on, they added a European section. And so now it's been...
So you're huge in Turkey.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. There's t-shirts.
It's there's a t-shirt
on my
of
face. Thanks,
you. Right? You totally. It's like Spielberg, Josh Nathan, and Turkey.
Right.
They're what do we put on the thing?
Yeah.
Well, that sounds cool. So you got that, and then I'm just like listening to you talking, and you're talking about the merits of like the structure of film school. What was the what when you got out? Okay, so you got this internship on the master. Just speaking in general terms, I know you've got some professional considerations, and you've got a really great relationship and everything. Speaking in general terms, especially you went on you worked on other pictures, not just Paul's pictures. What's the stuff that you find out when you get on a real professional film set that they never told you? Not necessarily because it's at the University of Kansas, but something you can never get from a classroom. What are the things that you would tell people, like, this is what you got, this is what I learned, this is what I woke up to, like, oh my gosh,
Yeah, I think, and maybe it's anticlimactic, but I mean, truly for me, working on the different sets that I've been on, the most valuable lesson for me has been to work hard. You can't absorb talent or anything else, which I think some people get confused with. They want to be on a lot of these sets, and I'm working on this movie, and that show, and somehow that's going to make me a better filmmaker, a writer, director, whatever, and that's fine. For me, what I found is all those people, all those filmmakers are working incredibly hard. And if I want to be doing that, then I have to be doing that. I have to be writing, reading, watching films, researching, making my own stuff. And that really was sort of an epiphany for me, is that the most valuable thing for me is going to be being alone in my room, writing, reading a book.
Right.
But on that note, I think, that any sort of practical advice is just really hard work, sort of immersing in the subject matter. The difference, I think, that I saw working on some of these bigger sets as opposed to film school is, the insane amount of detail that is going into everything. If you're setting up a shot, there's 15 people who are worried about the art design and every little prop and detail, and there's whole departments for that.
And they're all working really hard.
yeah, and they're all
busting their ass.
Yeah, I mean, that's their profession. There's
I talk about that a lot. People just, my experience with writers that are, like my friend who wrote American Sniper, the movie with Bradley Cooper for the Clint Eastwood movie. I mean, these guys, they work really hard. They're grinders, and it really is a screenplay. That last 20 yards before you go over the goal line is everything. It's like we do really well for a while, and then when it gets really tough, and when you really simply have to work really hard to like make it so that it's just so good. It's difficult because you're not only are you having to like continue to accept the challenge of like, this isn't that good. I know it's not that good. I keep getting notes and I got to continue to work on this. And you start to get embarrassed because it's taking so long and people are like, why isn't this done yet? Or come on, give yourself a break. And, and then you see when you have that patience and and you continue to be like, no. I want to rewrite this again. I want to have another table reading. I want to sit there and try and figure this out again. I want to retype it again. You get those results. I mean, it's like you start to get those results, and that's really what any of those situations. I mean, you do. It's like that extra amount of work. I think it's like the work that professional athletes do,
yeah.
And really, it's any profession. When you get to that level, when you're actually getting paid for doing what you're doing, is because you sort of outworked everybody else.
Yeah, totally. No, and that was really this amazing discovery for me that and really freeing is that it's within me. If I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it, and it's going to depend on.
Tell the story. Hours. You were an intern. It was between your junior and senior year, and you're an intern on
Leverage.
On Leverage,
right.
up in
TNT
Seattle.
Show.
Yeah, you're right. He had got an internship on that. And like after the first day of being a PA,
right.
You called me. Tell the story.
Yeah, it was the first day I'd been on set, and so on any kind of professional set outside of a student film, so I was completely unprepared, and there was a couple other KU students with me, and I went to set, thinking, this is more or less Hollywood. I mean, it's Portland, but it's Hollywood. It's a big show. It's going to be kind of a cush day. Maybe it won't go longer than 10 hours, if that. And it was this just like, I didn't know anything, so, nobody could really use me. So it ended, sort of like standing in a room alone for 15 or 16 hours and being totally frustrated, totally confused, totally overwhelmed because there's a walkie-talkie in my ear with people jabbering all day. I had no idea who anybody was or what they were saying. And I got home and I immediately called Gordy and just said something to the effect of, I don't know what's happened to me. I shouldn't be here. This is, and I went on to probably say what happened in the day with a bias. But it was a wake-up call, and I think Gordy said something to the effect of, that's the choice. Like, that's what you're doing. That's what it is. And, maybe it sucks, but you either go down the path or you don't. And there's other paths. That's not the only one per se, but it was an awakening for sure, and a good one for me. Being on set has been great because
then 2 or 3 days later,
right? Yeah, then you start you do kind of start learning, and you do see what's going on, and you do learn an incredible amount, and you learn something every day. Like, you never stop learning on a set. So that was. It's been a good path, and it's been worthwhile.
Yeah. Well, that's good. So you did that, and then you kind of, so you got out of KU, and you started working on the master, and you got an internship, and which was unpaid, and then you ended up getting, going on Lincoln, and that was a paid job, right? That was like. I mean, tell us a little bit in general, speaking again in general terms, how does the whole, the thing about, we're talking a lot about production and film production and the business and stuff, and not necessarily about, writing a better screenplay, right, in these terms, but it's interesting, the apprenticeship nature of Hollywood, and how everything is like, you stood in an empty room, and that's where you started in terms of your path, in terms of learning how to work and be useful, to a place that now you're, part of a small staff of people that sort of help, Paul Thomas Anderson, and you're sort of in that circle now. You work with those people. And so it is this sort of, you learn by being there. So how does that work? You went from one job to the next. In general, how does this whole thing work? Why do people get rehired? And because they work with somebody, and now you go here, and then people are advanced, and you learn a little bit more. Talk about that whole, that it's a different process than other professions.
Yeah, and that was, my first year. I still, kind of vaguely understand how Hollywood works, but the first year was totally unknown and sort of terrifying, because there is no other industry like it, and there's no way to prepare unless you have somebody who's directly involved in it, or a family member or something. And so, I was excited to be on the master. I was excited to work on that, and I thought that was sort of its end. That was the thing. That was the excitement.
Yeah. You got the break. You're on the master.
I'm happy.
And you're working your butt off.
Right. And then that show finishes, and I sort of go into a panic of, what do I do now? I'm completely broke in Hollywood, and I don't know how anything works. And then this guy who's a set PA on the master brought me on for a good portion of the Dark Knight Rises for LA, and that was a great break just in terms of survival.
You got paid for that.
Yeah, just getting steady work. And then one of the producers from The Master and the first AD and producer brought me on to Lincoln. And what I was slowly discovering is that, one, the industry is very small.
Yeah.
And that, you know, when you're in Kansas and you look at it, it seems like this massive behemoth. But in fact, it's very small, and everybody keeps working. Everybody knows everybody. And that's how it works, is those people will keep you involved. And so to stay involved, you have to, you know, work hard and keep a good reputation and be on time and
be reliable and faithful and have a really strong ethic, because everybody finds out, and if you sort of don't do those things, then the phone stops ringing, right?
Right, exactly.
People are not going to call you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you know, then finding what you want to do is the next challenge. You know, if you want to be in the camera department, how do you do that?
Yeah, what did you do? You realize it's like, okay, you didn't want to go down the path of like, I don't want to be an AD.
Right.
I want to make film still.
Right. And so, you know, I did The Master, The Dark Knight Rises, and Lincoln, and, you know, that was from May to December. So that was a whirlwind. I just kind of put my head down and went. And sometime during that period, a small nugget started for a script, and I started writing it. I wanted it to be a short, and then I realized it was something bigger, and so that was slowly building. And then after Lincoln ended in December, I sort of took a step back, you know, stayed on the farm in Kansas where I'm from, and thought about a lot of stuff, and recognized kind of where my passions were leading me. And that was, you know, sort of a direct line to filmmaking. And so then the challenge has become, how do you survive, but how do you keep working, you know, as a writer and director, where at first you're not going to get any money. And so that became the balance. And luckily in the film industry, when you do work as a production assistant, one, the work is inconsistent, and two, since you work so many hours, you get enough money to survive that if you're frugal and you save, then, you know, you can pay rent and take 2 weeks off and, you know, shut the world out and work like a mad dog.
Work on your project. Okay, well, why don't we go forward a little bit? And you was awesome because the story was I went to the New York Film Festival. I think I told you guys about this, and I went to see Foxcatcher, directed by Bennett Miller, and which was awesome. Great trailer. You should check out the trailer. It's a great movie. I've seen it and saw it in New York, and I saw it earlier in the year. But it's awesome, and the trailer is great. Check out the trailer. But I also saw Inherent Vice. I ran into Josh in New York. He was there because he's part of he came to the screening in New York, the world premiere, and I asked him what he was doing. He told me about that he was in the Werner Herzog Rogue Film School, and I had read about it because another one of your colleagues wrote what was her name? Marie
Francois. Yeah, there's been a couple that have come out, but yeah.
Yeah, she wrote a column on IndieWire.
Right.
And I had read that, and I was like, wow, this is a really interesting thing. And then Josh told me he got in. He was in the group. And I thought, wow. That's when I asked him. I said, well, when you get back to L.A., you got to come on Ustream and tell us about it. So let's just jump right into that, and then we'll get some questions from people, because I bet you there's some questions people have for Josh about whatever, probably his beard and his awesomeness.
It's been about 8 months.
Yeah, about 8 months.
Yeah.
Is it hot? I mean, do you feel like people think it's hot?
But it's getting hard to manage.
Why?
It's just so much hair, like on my head.
And it's scratchy, isn't it?
No, I haven't had.
When I had a beard, I was always like, hey. You know, I mean, it's like.
No, I have the bad habit of doing this a lot, but that's just.
Well, you're a young man. It's easy. You can get away with it and still. And it's fashionable to have the, you know.
Could go. It could.
And a moment's notice. Yeah. Oh, you're ready. You're thinking about it. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It gets you through something, but, you know. Anyway,
right.
so Tell us, okay, how did you apply for the Werner Herzog School?
Well, it was interesting.
Who is Werner Herzog?
Werner Herzog is a amazing, legendary German filmmaker. He was a huge part of the German New Wave in the 60s and 70s. And he's been making films since then. He has, like 70 credits to his name. He's worked with some of the wildest actors around, like Klaus Kinski and Bruno S. And he's still making amazing films. And one of the most exciting things about him for me is his ability to weave in and out of narrative and documentary, and how he's able to approach them in sort of a similar fashion of, I'm here to, make a great piece of art rather than, anything else. That's number one.
What was some of the, like, recently, he did the Cave movie?
Yeah, Cave of Forgotten Dreams.
What was that? I mean, I don't know if you guys, this is really good. Is it on Netflix, Cave?
I'm not sure. It came out, he released it in 3D. It's about the Chauvet caves in France, which has some of the earliest artwork known to men with these cave paintings from 30,000 years ago and 35,000 years ago. And it was released on 3D. And now it's on like Blu-ray 3D, but it's great. It's a great 3D.
What's another movie he did? The Grizzly.
He did Grizzly Man. One of my favorites, and it's a recent one, is Bad Lieutenant, Port of Call, New Orleans, which is with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, okay. He recently did that.
Yeah.
He didn't do the original though.
No, he didn't, and there's no connection outside of they both follow Bad Lieutenants.
They're just bad lieutenants.
Yeah. I don't think
another bad lieutenant.
Right. Yeah.
Well, okay. So how did you apply? I mean, this was like you had to apply. You couldn't just buy a ticket and go in.
Right. No, you had to apply. And I actually first found out about it in 2012, and I don't think I was ready. I saw it and was just sort of like, I'll put that away for later. He didn't end up doing it again until this year. And the application is simple. It's submit a film you've made and a short, application. And it sort of came at a perfect time. I had just finished a film. It's a long mouthful called Another Easygoing Brother in the Meadow Wind. That I made in Kansas with sort of this great group of people, one of which who I met in LA, working on The Master and Inherent Vice. Her name's Courtney, and she's producing, and then my cinematographer Ian and another producer, Josh Doak. We're in Kansas, and we were able to sort of make this great
cool
team and have an LA, Kansas co-production.
That's awesome.
And yeah, we were just like working on that for, all in all, from, the beginning of the idea to the end film is something like 15 or 16 months. So we just took our time. There's no end date or anything like that. The goal was just to march forward. And so it finished at an opportune time, and I was actually working as a PA for one day on this film that I just got called up for one day. It wasn't really affiliated, except the fact that the main actor from my film happened to have one day on that Western film, and that was the same day I got called in.
Oh, that's crazy.
But I met this really cool PA on there, and we hit it off, and we were talking about how great Werner Herzog is, and he said, he's got this school. And I said, yeah, I do. And I'd sort of forgotten about it, but I went home and looked it up and saw that applications were due in a month. And so I had this film that I was really excited about and submitted that in a short application. And
so you got accepted.
A couple months later, got accepted.
Go to the school. Tell us about the school. What happens at the school?
It's a great mix. It's a 4-day seminar. Really, the first night is a meet and greet with the students and Werner.
How many people?
50. And that was one of the most amazing parts, is half the class was international. And so it was this amazing group of people.
Wow.
Yeah, from Kazakhstan to, you know, Minneapolis, Minnesota, you know,
That's
just
awesome.
all over the place. And the first 2 days were really focused sort of on him teaching with his experience and maybe a few examples from, you know, the history of cinema, but really, you know, a seminar. And then the last day was focused on our projects and being able to kind of watch some of those, have the class see that, watch it with him, hear his thoughts, dig into specific things. And so it really was just a great...
Was he able to screen 50?
No, he just sort of picked some at random. And one of the exciting things for me was he did show our film.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, and that was really exciting to be able to watch it.
You did the whole thing, or
it was and
section of it?
Well, yeah, and what you submit to the school is a 5-minute excerpt.
Oh, cool.
So that's what we screened, and you know, which is almost the whole film. I think it's a 6.5-minute film. So
right.
We watched that, and that was great to hear what he had to say. What we did is we did a one-shot Steadicam movement, and so it was really cool to have a discussion with him and hear him talk about space and how he, you know, will direct landscapes. Ours takes place.
Okay, well, one more question before, because I know we got people they gotta have questions for you. Tell us a little bit about, like, what were the things that you sort of like, you walked away and sort of, maybe there's one thing or two things that you were like, I've never even thought about that, and that is something I've never heard anywhere before in terms of storytelling in movies.
Yeah, I mean, well,
or just the simple and practical.
The most important thing for me, and the most practical, and was something that's kind of been in front of my face and probably everybody's face, and it's that idea of just go make your film. But hearing it from him and talking about what it means to be self-reliant was amazing. I mean, if you look at his film Aguirre, The Wrath of God, which is one of the greatest films ever made, he made that before anybody knew who he was. He made it in a foreign country. It's a period piece, and he did it with an 8-person crew. And being able to sit with him and hear him, you know, that I think that's sort of the master idea of his philosophy is figure it out. And so being able to sit in a room with somebody who's done that and with 50 other very interesting people who are also doing it and who are doing everything they can to make that happen was incredibly inspiring, and it ties into that idea of hard work, where I came to an understanding of just do it, you know, which is so easy to misinterpret and be like, okay, well, I'm doing something, but being self-reliant means to figure it out, put your life into it, be your own producer, start your own production company, stay small, get your crew together, don't worry about, you know, and this is getting into some of the practical advice of what he was saying.
One more thing before we go to questions. What did he say about writing? I read something that he was like, don't work on a script more than 5 days. Yeah. That's stupid.
Yeah, he said, and the way I take it is this, is he said that he likes to sit down and write out a whole script. I basically read that, and what he said is, I make movies because of how intensely the ideas come bang at my door. And so what that means to me is that's sitting there building in his head, and an outline is coming and situations are coming. And then at some point he said he likes to, you know, hole up in a room and read poetry for 3 days and then write. And so the way I interpreted it was, you know, there's been months or years of building, and then maybe, you know, he writes it out. But yeah, maybe he's an enigma, and
yeah, he had some. It felt a little.
I can't do.
It felt a little kooky, but
yeah,
because my experience is like, you know, rewriting isn't.
You know, and something interesting he said was, you know, somebody did ask about how do you write, what do you do, what's your process, and he didn't really go into a lot of depth outside of saying that. But what he did say is, you have to find that. I can't tell you how to write.
Right.
Writing is not something you say, I'm a writer, I'm going to do it. It's a sense of urgency. It's something you have to find within yourself. And that's true. That's true. I mean...
Well, very good. Well, man, we could just keep talking, but I'm sure we could direct this a little bit more. We have a couple questions for Josh.
Yeah.
What are they?
All right, so the first one is, was your short shown in theaters or streamed online or TV? How was it distributed over there?
Oh, the short I did in school. Yeah, it's shown on TV. It's shown on their cable channel. It's shown in the U.S. Yeah, it's on whatever AT&T.
Is it still on?
It is. Yeah, it was a 3-year deal. And so I don't have it streaming online. That's part of the agreement is the film can't stream in any of those territories on the internet. You know, they have to protect that thing. So yeah, it plays on TVs.
Okay.
So people, and then someone else asked, is it available to see anywhere?
On their Shorts channel, it is playing in the U.S. If you go to
what is the channel?
Shorts International.
It's on DirecTV or something?
It's on DirecTV. It's on AT&T Uverse. It's on all the cable
It's called
systems.
Shorts International.
Yeah, and then the TV is called Shorts TV, and you can go to their website and they have their schedule. It's just short films, and it lists everything that's playing.
It's interesting that you guys look on there, because a lot of people don't know why should I write a short? I live in the U.S. Where does it stream? There's obviously places where it can screen. So
yeah.
What else?
Has working on sets changed or affected the way you write scripts, and if so, how?
Has working on set? Maybe you can move over here, and then you can say the things. And why don't we move the chair over here? Intern Michelle can bring it over. There's Michelle. She's here tonight, of course.
All right, so
here, come on in there just a little bit more. So Sarah Lynn's, Sarah Lynn, obviously, and she's gonna give us that question again.
All right, so has working on sets changed or affected the way you write scripts, and if so, how?
No, it hasn't. I mean, outside of maybe an idea or an inspiration has hit on set, and I've whipped out my notebook and written it down. But no, and that was an important discovery for me, is that the way I write scripts and what is in my scripts is coming from me and the work I do on my own, the books I read, the movies I watch, the research I do. Working on set has been great to clarify some things in my own head, and then to also continue to learn. If you want to be a director, you have to know as much as you can. You have to know lighting, you have to know camera, you have to know the lenses.
Haven't you ever been on a set where you're like, that scene isn't working? And then doesn't it make you think like, man, I need to work on my stuff a little bit?
Yeah, totally. And that's, ties into some advice Werner said, is watch, somebody, his main 2 bits of advice were read, and walk on foot. And that's what he said for 2 or 3 days. And finally somebody said, do you have any other advice? And one of the pieces he said was watch a lot of good movies. And he said, and watch a lot of bad movies. It's easier to
walk on foot. What's that mean?
To actually walk on foot, walk across the plains, walk across the city.
Oh, walk on foot.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
So I don't have to give you a ride home tonight?
No, I'm walking.
Okay, you're going to walk out to Tarzan.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
That's
Echo
fine.
Park now. It's closer.
Oh, you're in Echo Park.
Yeah, it's
you
closer.
Can walk there.
Yeah.
Michelle, are you going to walk back home?
Oh, definitely.
Okay, so everybody's on foot tonight. I'm actually going to take my car. I'm going to think about this idea, maybe walk later on in the week. Okay? All right, Sarah Lynn, what do you got?
Marie Francoise said that
cool.
she's
Hey, Marie.
watching right now, and she said, hey. So.
Hey.
Yay! I thought Marie. I know Linda told me you were gonna join us. So yeah, if you have anything you want to share, please let us know.
Okay, Josh,
Marie was the person who wrote the article on IndieWire. You can find that on IndieWire, by the way. It's basically you search IndieWire and the Rogue Film School.
Yeah.
Her piece is going to come up. That's a great piece.
Yeah,
I really like that piece. It's well written. It's nice, tight. It's very interesting. That's why I read the stuff, all this other stuff. That's why I knew about it. Is I read her piece, and that's when.
Yeah, I sent that around to a lot of people who were curious because I thought it was a
nice
excellent summation.
Yeah, it was excellent.
All right. People are also wondering what the name of your short is, so they can torrent it.
Oh, so they can just rip it off.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got some pirates on here.
Yeah, well, it's
all right. Well, you're not supposed to really be able to do that, but the title is. What is the title of it? You could say that. We definitely don't want you to pirate it on piratebay.org.
Yeah, if you can find it, I would be amazed. But the title of the short is Another Easygoing Brother in the Meadow Wind.
That's not the one that got distribution.
Oh, no, the one that got that's the one I just did. The one that got distribution is called A Light Opera.
A Light Opera. You can remember that. A Light Opera, Josh Nathan. Don't go on piratebay.org and download the torrent. Okay. Very good. Please don't do that.
Okay. Do you prefer writing to directing?
Well, I think for me, it's part of the same process. I mean, you are the author of the film. Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, for me, writing is exciting because it feels like I gotta be careful what I say here, but it feels like the truly creative side of being a filmmaker, where you get to sit down and just go anywhere you want. When you're working as a director, you're really working as a collaborator. Why do you say that? You're because you don't want somebody who directs and not writes. You don't want to slam them because it's and I do think there's an incredible amount of. I mean, you are the artist as the director too, but I think it's less free. You have to work with a lot of people, and you have to be a muse to a lot of people, and they have to be your muse, and it's a lot. There's a lot of technicalities, and so it's just a different environment. Whereas writing, you can just be free. Yeah, it's a blank canvas, and I can go anywhere. I can. I think Paul has said that to me, and he said that when I remember he was speaking at my USC class years ago, but he said that writing is the thing that's really his most. I think he's, I don't know if he would probably agree with me, but it's like his favorite thing to do because of probably the same reasons as you're just, you're sort of master of everything for a while, and you just make anything up, and it's challenging all the while, but when you start directing. There's other things that start to happen, that you're managing, you're babysitting. You're doing a lot of things. You're, herding the cats and all that. Okay, so what else? All right, you have a Seattle Seahawks shirt on today, Sarah Lynn? Yeah. That's nice. Yeah. What are they on a losing streak right now, aren't they?
They're not doing too well.
Okay, well then they'll be back. They'll be back. Yeah. Okay.
Mine was 3-3.
What is?
Mine was 3-3. Yeah, it's no big.
Okay, last question. Do you outline also what screenwriting software and or writing apps do you like?
Do I outline? No, I mean, it depends on the script. I think that can start. I mean, I've had a script that started from an image in my head. I've started by transcribing an interview. So no, and again, kind of tying back into the freedom of writing, I really like to let it, this is going to sound ridiculous, but just let it kind of come as it wants to and take whatever feels good, whether it's transcribing a scene, an interview, or writing an original scene that's from my notes. So yeah, I don't have any set method of this is how I start, and then this is step 2, and this is step 3, and I sort of just try to put a bunch out there, and then at some point I do have to reorganize, and then I try to go back into it. And then screenwriting, I just use Word. I got a template just online. I did use Celtex for a bit, but it just kind of freaked me out, and you can't transfer it anywhere. It holds it, and I think then it moved online and it wants to store it. So I just stick with Word, and
Word's good.
Yeah, it's easy.
Yeah, Word's good. Well, very good. So, so what's next now that you've gotten out of the Herzog thing. Are you working on your feature script?
Yeah, I have a feature going. I actually finished another short film this year called Nude in Albuquerque, and I've just started submitting those to festivals, so that's occupying some of my time. But yeah, a lot of my time is working with the same people who I made these short films
You're
with.
going to make a feature with them?
Yeah, which is really exciting to be able to, find some people that you can count on.
That's really what Paul has.
Yeah.
Paul has like a crew of people. He keeps using the same editor and
and
producer.
And years ago I heard that about Clint Eastwood, and I think it just went over my head. But yeah, it's amazing what happens when you really can start trusting people and start relying on them, and then it does become this collaboration, and it's not just one person carrying, it's multiple people. So yeah, we're heavy into pre-production and cranking away trying to do
That's
this.
awesome. I can't wait to find out what that's about. You don't show me any of your movies.
I try to.
Really?
Yeah.
I'll
slip DVDs under your door.
Okay.
I never hear back.
Are you kidding me? I've never even heard of these films.
Yeah.
Anyways, we don't have any more. I don't think we're out of time. Do we have any more questions?
Yeah, one more. Do you have a book or collection of notes that have piled up, such as lines of dialogue for no particular script?
Oh yeah, tons. I carry a little moleskin.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah.
Can we get what's in there? Some ideas?
Secrets.
Oh, secrets, eh?
Secrets.
Oh my God! So you write down your little things.
Right. Yeah.
Oh,
no,
my God.
I totally. Yeah.
You could store that in your beard.
Yeah.
Just hide it in there.
I have other treasures out there.
Right?
But
you put a pen up there. Where's my pencil?
Yeah. No, I definitely keep lots of various notes that, a line will just come in. And
I used to do that when I was driving a cab. I had notebook cards. I still have that stack of cards, and I used to write down things like that. And now I just write emails to myself and keep my little email, my little idea file. But we should get going because I got to answer some questions, and we're going to do some other things. But what's really great I want to show you is Josh brought me the press book from Inherent Vice as a little token. Very nice. Look at this little thing. Super cool, right? This is coming out in December, mid-December. What is it? December
12th.
December 12th. We'll be talking a little bit more about that. Maybe we can get Paul Thomas Anderson to come on here and talk to us about Inherent Vice in December. That would be fun. But don't hold your breath. But maybe that would be cool. I'll ask him, see if he'd be willing to do something like that. Maybe after the movie opens. We'll see. But we're definitely going to keep rolling out the cool guests. And then he also gave me a poster. So a little Inherent Vice poster. And that's cool, right? It's good stuff. Thank you so much, Josh, for coming on, dude. You are just awesome. This is really, really great and so impressive. It's like what a crazy ride. How old are you?
26.
Yeah, already. By the time I was 26, I think I'd gotten arrested. And
I got an fender bender yesterday.
So. Oh, you got a fender bender yesterday. Stay tuned to the next Ustream episode. We're about Josh Eagle. Thanks a lot, Josh.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And I'll see you soon, and we'll have you back. I'm sure you give us another powwow after the Inherent Vice is over. You can come back and tell us maybe some tidbits or something.
Get Paul for that.
Yeah, I gotta get Paul Thomas Anderson. Him and Joaquin. We get Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, that would be a miracle. I don't think that's going to happen. Well, very good. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll go ahead and keep talking here. But
all right.
We'll talk soon. Okay. So Josh is going to hang out in our green room and eat all the food. We got some Fruit Loops for him. You guys like Fruit Loops? I thought it would be rude if I ate these while I was here, but I love you, buddy. Thanks so much.
Yeah, take care.
I don't know about this too. This is weird. There's a lot of stuff here. This is stuff that's in our office. You guys, it's like, what's this? There's a shark here.
Hey, that's my stuff.
I know, but it's...
You talking crap?
I'm not talking crap. I think it's awesome. It's just that people are probably wondering what's going on at BlueCat. Okay, so I know you guys don't have any questions for me, so yeah, right. Do we have any questions for me at all?
We do.
Okay. And, you know, the next, we got about 50 minutes, 55 minutes. We'll do this. We'll do questions. Let's talk questions. Anything you want. And if you have an idea that you want to run by everybody, like maybe a little, if you can like write it up in like a tiny little line or two, and you want to share like sort of an idea for a movie, we could kind of like give you some feedback on that. We could have some of the people at BlueCat give you some feedback on your idea. I thought that would be a fun thing to do in the middle of the questions and answers about screenwriting. Maybe if you want to, like, you got an idea, like a little log line or something, and you want to, you know, go ahead and pitch it, you know, go ahead and do that. So, fire away. What do we got?
All right, question for Gordy. When we submit a script to BlueCat, can we post that script on the Blacklist website, or do we have to wait until after the winners are announced in the competition?
Ah, that's interesting. I think it's your property. That's a weird question in that it's a good question. Because you know, the rule is basically we're trying to discover screenplays, and we want to discover the scripts. We want the scripts to be new. We want to discover people. So if people have already gotten assistance somewhere else. So if you're on the blacklist and you're already being circulated to managers and stuff, I don't know. We don't really technically have any rule against that. So you probably can post it on blacklist and then send it. But you might as well just wait to get your feedback and do another pass on it at least. If that happened earlier in the summer and you want to post on the blacklist, you know, I don't think we're going to disqualify you. But if you win anything, or if you get management through the blacklist, it's going to be difficult for us to feel like you haven't actually gotten something out of it. I know that isn't specific. We don't have the right rule written up for that, and it's a little gray. But just try and use your judgment. Just try and think about it from maybe our point of view and say, like, okay, if we all act, everybody likes the fact that BlueCat doesn't allow people, we have the strictest rules for submissions. We have a lot of things. You can't submit a very old script. You can't submit scripts that have won anything. You can't submit scripts that have gotten development help other places like grants or something. You know, and we just do that because then everybody knows that they're not up against anybody else who's gotten a break yet. Okay, this is a discovery competition. So so just bear that in mind while you think through those things. But if anything, just wait. Just wait to get the feedback back. Wait a couple months. Rewrite it. I mean, what's the rush? If everybody in your community thinks your script is mind-blowingly good, well, then put it on the blacklist. But if you're still taking notes from people and you're still getting feedback, then you might as well wait until you actually upload it on Franklin's site. Okay?
All right. Do you ever get writer's block? And if so, how do you work through it?
Do you ever get writer's block? I get writer's block when I'm writing about something that's emotionally uncomfortable. That's usually what makes me stop. I don't want to write. I don't want to, like, I have a thing where I don't want to feel. I just want to, like, you know, play with my Archie doll. And, you know, I just want to talk to Archie and be like, whatever. And I don't want to really write that scene that is very challenging. Or I don't want to write something that's highly original and highly plausible. I don't want to do that. So I end up hiding a little bit. That's the only block. I don't really feel like it's like that's the only thing I've ever been able to identify with myself as block. I can't think of an idea. I feel like if you're present and you're willing to, like, go to the truth and you keep your standards up of authenticity and originality, and you know you want something fresh, those things put demands on us, and this is where this becomes a problem. So that's what it is. So how do I deal with it? Well, I just definitely you get your butt in the chair, you put your fingers on the keyboard, and you have your file open. That's a really good start. And usually when if you read out loud the last couple pages you've been writing and you keep your fingers on the keyboard, you're probably going to start writing. I know that sounds very straightforward, but you know, writing block isn't usually solved by like watching television or laying on the couch or taking a nap or anything. It's by opening up your computer and like opening up your file and like read and finding out where you were and getting into the headspace of your characters and then going forward, right? Yeah.
Someone wants to know if Archie talks back.
Does Archie talk back? I haven't actually started to talk for Archie. We just got this. Daryl Strawberry does, but the Archie, they don't, because I don't know. It's weird. I'm not totally. You know, the fact is that we haven't been able to get Archie and the Riverdale gang the dolls that really work. These dolls are. This one's not bad, but have you ever seen Archie with a hat? It's like never. It's only like, I mean, it happens sometimes, but so he's like that really usually. But it's just, you know, so we haven't really gotten the right dolls yet. But when we get something that actually looks like Veronica and Betty, then we can see things starting to play out a little bit. But that's an excellent question. That's the best question since we've started doing the Ustreams, actually.
Okay. When I'm writing a scene, I often visualize it playing like a movie in my head. A lot of times I see the music playing with it as well. Is it helpful to include this in the script?
I would not put the music in the script because I think it just gives people... First of all, readers, like finicky readers, you don't want to like make some reader get all like, oh, you don't have the rights, you don't put music in a script, so why even chance it? It's not worth it.
That actually happens a lot with some of our readers. They have a lot of issues with a lot of like pop culture references, especially with like certain songs, and you know that really like pulls them out of the script. They're like, you know, is this really supposed to be this time period? What happens if you have this set in stone and then it's written or it's produced, you know, years later? Like, what if that isn't relevant anymore to the time period?
Yeah, it's very, very important. I mean, that's some good feedback from Olivia. Olivia, again, if you weren't here earlier, she's off camera. She's right over here.
No, wrong way.
She's over here. There she is. So she's our reader coordinator, and she reviews the feedback before it goes out and everything. So she takes in a lot of the notes, and it trips up our readers a little bit, like the pop culture references and the music and all that stuff. I mean, that's just it's people get hung up on it, and usually it's just one of those things that it's like you don't want to like have that work against you, and it's probably rarely going to be like, oh, that's going to work for you. You know, somebody had like an Elvis Presley song, Hound Dog, in a script I read recently for a workshop or a consultation or something like that, and you know, it was something that distracted me because I thought there's no way you're ever going to get the rights to that, and it just took me out of the story for a second. It wasn't something that was going to knock me out. I wasn't going to disqualify it because of that, but it was just distracting. So I know as a director you want to sort of be, this is what I want to do, but you just rely on let those music components come in later. Okay, what else? What else do we got?
All right, so we have when should a writer get a manager if he has an agent?
When should a writer get a manager if he has an agent, or he or she has an agent? Well, I would talk to your agent, you know, unless you don't have a very good relationship. But I would talk to your agent. Your agent would probably be traditionally would be probably amenable to that because it means one more person trying to help you and the team advance the client's career. So, I'd be open. I mean, my instincts would be I would be open to the agent. You wouldn't want to go and seek out a manager and then go to your agent and be like, I got a manager, because you know the agent might have feedback on that process, and you want to always work. You know, you want to work as a team. Josh was talking about that earlier, working as a team, and how important it is to get people around. Everyone's working to the same goal, and loyalty is created. And you know, we try and do that at BlueCat, and you know, we try and have our team, and we have our readers, and I think it's the same thing with representation for writers. You know, that's film production, talent representation, literary representation, all that stuff. Everyone wants to be on the same page. So include the agent before you jump ahead.
Okay. When is your workshop coming to Columbus, Ohio?
Well, you know what? That's really funny because we've been trying to do that. We were thinking about coming for the Ohio Comic Con, which is next weekend, but that got scrapped. But let us know if you email. You just email me at info@tomorrow or tonight, and we'll come next year because we've been wanting to come to Columbus for a while. I was in Cleveland a long time ago, but actually Columbus is where we want to go. We want to go to Cleveland, Columbus. We want to go to Indianapolis. We've never been to Indianapolis. We kind of want to do a little bit of a run, but we can do that. We'll do that in the spring. So if you want to help us, Cincinnati's another place, so we could do a little bit of a tour. So, but it's odd that you asked that because we actually were thinking about Columbus because a lot of people don't know this, but Columbus is a very big city. It's very big. So we would like to go there. We haven't been to Ohio with a BlueCat workshop in quite a while. So give us an email if you have any ideas about where to go, who to talk to, if you have any stuff, and we can start planning that. Okay. So thanks for your question. Love to come.
All right. What are the top buddy movies besides Butch and Sundance and cop movies?
What are the top buddy movies besides Butch and Sundance? Well, Casablanca is sort of a buddy movie. What are some other good buddy movies? I mean, Lethal Weapon was a great franchise for a while, and that really sort of reinvented things. French Connection it's not a buddy movie, but the partnership is great. French Connection, I don't know if you've ever seen that. That's a classic, and that has a very tight-knit friendship we call buddy movies. That's something that sort of came out of almost like a Lethal Weapon thing, and right? I mean, doesn't that make buddy? But French Connection is really good. I keep thinking about a relationship, a partnership between two. I also thought about All the President's Men. Ben Bradley just died, and it's such a great movie. And I just saw it this year, and I want to see it again after I read that he had died. And that is also an excellent the relationship between them. There's a lot of animosity between Woodward and Bernstein in that movie. That would be something that is really I think that would be a good buddy movie. Recently, I think anything, buddy movies, like anything that Will Ferrell and John C. Reilly do, those are always good too. But that's not really a buddy movie. So other than cops movies, that's an interesting question. Hopefully some of those examples got you going. I'm not a great cinephile. What do you think, Sarah? Anything come to mind? Thelma and Louise.
The only thing I can think of.
Thelma and Louise is a great buddy movie.
22 Jump Street, but that's a good cop.
Well, 22 Jump Street is a good. I thought of that. The first 22 Jump Street was charming.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Second one
wasn't as good, but the first one was really good. And
21 Jump Street is the first.
21 Jump Street. 22 Jump Street, the first movie. No. Okay, well, very good. Good question, and hopefully some of those helped. Again, I have to think. Let me think about another one. Buddy movie. And the thing is, one of the first things I thought of was It Happened One Night, and that's like a romantic comedy. But I don't know why I thought of that. But that's not what we're talking about. Some Like It Hot. Some Like It Hot is another one. Really good buddy movie, right? That's a good one. And hopefully you've seen that. Recent things, I don't know. Another couple movies that you might want to see that are really good were the movies with Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. They made a few comedies back in the early 80s, late 70s that were excellent. Silver Streak, Still Crazy, and they made about 4, I think, and they were an excellent team. But those are all different tonally, so they might not be what you're looking for. Next question.
All right. Next question is, what's the best produced screenplay that you've read?
The best produced screenplay that I've read. You mean that what do you think? They mean from BlueCat or?
No, I think just in general.
I don't read a lot of produced screenplays, actually. I don't. I read mostly amateur screenplays, and some of them have gone on to be made, but I'm not somebody who reads all the scripts. And it's sort of strange. I see a lot of movies, and I read a lot of amateur screenplays. And sometimes I read scripts that are going to get made, but they're my friends' scripts. But I don't read like all the Oscar movies. I won't read the Birdman script, or I didn't read 12 Years a Slave or anything like that, even though those were all nominated. I'm not sure why. I think it's because I'm so busy reading my students' scripts and BlueCat scripts and teaching. It seems to have done well, but I can't really say. I'm sure I would learn a lot by doing that, but I learned so much from teaching and having to articulate what's going on with somebody else's script that is struggling to get there. But that's a good answer.
Someone said, could you please describe the contest process from the point the reader gets a script to the point of the first cut, top 10%?
Okay. Well, very good. So what we do is the reader gets the script. The reader reads the script in its entirety. They write the feedback, which is what you get. It's roughly 500 to 600 words broken down, and then there's 6 things that they score from 1 to 10, and those things are story, dialogue, character. What are they?
Story, dialogue, character. Is voice one of them?
Let's see. I always forget what they are.
I can't remember it.
And but that's okay. We'll figure those. So there's 6 things. We'll get it up. It's very quickly here. So just give me 1 second, everybody, and we'll. Okay. Story, characterization, dialogue, description, clarity, and originality. So that's story, characterization, description, dialogue, clarity, originality. And those are ranked from 1 to 10. So then what happens is that we collect all the scores and we examine everything that scores above a certain number. And that number is flexible and changes. So there's no, So, but basically we go way, way deep into the pile so that basically we're getting almost, I personally do not open every script that gets read because it's like 5,000. But what I do is I start opening all the features, for example, that score above a certain number, okay? And then I start opening them up and I wait for the writing to explode or go one direction or the other. And as soon as it sort of tells me this is really not going to advance, I let it go. So that's basically what it is. I just kind of I always open up a script, rooting for the script and saying this could be my winner, and I wait until the writing disqualifies the writer. And then basically the top 10% is the top. We take, I guess the question was to the top 10%. Top 10% is we get the number of people that have so if we get 4,000, then that means we have 400 top 10%. I feel like we should go down to top 5% eventually because it gets 400 names is so much, but it is nice. Top 10%, that's good. That's a strong thing. That's almost 400 screenplays though. And most of it is based off of those scores that come in. And we're very rigorous about how we hire. We make sure that the scoring and the readers fall in line with where my sensibilities are and where we feel like are not necessarily my sensibilities personally, but where we feel like the reader is fair, thoughtful, intelligent, professional in their response. And you know, it's all subjective. It's very, very subjective. But we do feel like, you know, the scripts that do score higher generally are stronger scripts, and the ones that are scoring lower are generally not ready yet. Okay, so that's it. I think that's the process. Hopefully that helps you. And yeah.
Someone asked, how come the writers don't get that score in the analysis?
Yeah, we don't send the score out. We did that a couple years ago, you guys, and it just gets everybody kooky on the score. They're like, well, why did I get a 48 and I didn't become a top 10%? Or I got a 41. Did my, you know, it gets crazy. Everyone gets. We don't want people to focus on numbers. We want people to focus on the notes. Because the fact is that you know, one of the other things that happens is that a reader will give, if the reader gives a score, like let's say the reader gave everybody like a 9 out of 10 on something, that script is probably going to be a top 10% script. You know, we keep that in-house, but likely that's going to fall on the scale over here, right, towards the top 10%. But once I start opening up scripts, it's my call. And I have a 60, or I don't think a 59 has ever won. I know a 60 has never won. So if a reader gives somebody a 58, but I'm not connecting to it, and I don't think it's a top script for BlueCat, then I don't necessarily want the person. I got a 58 out of 60, and it wasn't a semifinalist. The fact is that it's not. If I start reading, now if the script has got that high of a score, I've opened it. Like, trust me, nobody if you're up that high and your reader really liked your script, I have opened it and I have adjudicated it. And all I know is that we stand by our process, and I root for you guys. And we don't want to send the numbers out because they're internal, and I just don't want everyone to be focused on 5. What's a 5 mean out of 10? What's a 6 mean out of? I mean, it's like, it drove me crazy when we did that, and I don't want to do that. We're not ever going to do that. I want you guys to focus on writing better scripts. I want you to focus on the notes, and I want you to trust that we are trying every year to do a better job. And in short, you know, in the end, our track record is on our website. You know, we had over 4,000 scripts last year, 4,000 features, and H.F. Crumb came out on top. He won. Well, he's now gone on to other people have now made him their winner. So and he got signed and everything else. So this guy is the real deal, and that's our track record. So our process is working. It's flawed. It's always going to be flawed, and I hate the fact I love and hate the fact that it's flawed. I wish that we would never miss anybody that was special, but I know that sometimes we will. And I know sometimes I'm not going to connect with, some reader's going to love something. I mean, we all go to a movie, you know, we all go and see people, just ask your friends. They go see Gone Girl. Some people are going to be like, I don't like Gone Girl. And other people are going to be like, I thought that was great. I saw Fury over the weekend. My friend, the winner came in and he saw Fury. We didn't think the same thing about it. You know, it's just, that's the beauty of it. So instead of being like, why isn't this fair? It's just be like, okay, this is what it is, which is kind of neat. It's a personal experience, and but we are going to keep trying to make sure we don't lose anybody in this process. So if you're supposed to be acknowledged, or you're supposed to be a semifinalist or a finalist or a winner, we want that to happen. And we every year I think we get better. And as you look at our track record, I mean, 2005, 6, 7, all the way back, you know, we have people that work in the industry, that have careers, that have done special things. Our winners are a very successful group of people. So every year our process keeps getting better, but it keeps yielding the same results where we're not losing anybody. Okay, so hopefully that helps. I like these questions. I'm glad that we have this open forum on this stuff because I know some of these questions are things that you want to know and that are frustrating. I hope they're not, whatever. I mean, we try and do our best. So thanks.
Okay, what kind of things strengthen the first 5 or 10 pages of a script?
Keep it really tight. Keep very, very few words, very short scenes, very visual. Get us into the movie. How can you emotionally engage me with different scenes? If you go in with one scene and it's all dialogue and I can't see anything in my brain, and you've got a bunch of description that's like a half a page long and it's a bunch of unnecessary extra stuff, that's not going to help. You want it to be tight. You want it to be clean and tight and narrow and visual, and so it takes me in. It takes the reader in. This information, this moment, this moment, this moment. In 5 pages, man, you can get a lot done. You can go a lot of different places. Is anybody going to ask what she's drawing on the cup?
Someone just did.
They just did.
What is she drawing on the cup?
I'll show you.
She's doing a doodle. She's not done yet, are you?
No. Well, I doodled on my cup. It's not.
It's not that great. It's cool though. Oh wait, what's that? Oh, there's BlueCat. BlueCat Screenplay. There you go.
There you go.
You can't see her though. You see her hair? She didn't dye it. It's not blue, is it?
No, it's like teal.
It's like teal, but it's sort of there. I was wondering, you could go back and keep drawing.
Thanks,
I just thought it was funny that I looked up and I figured somebody was going to ask that. Like, what is that girl drawing?
Does BlueCat read animated scripts?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We actually have a lot of, we do get a lot of those. I actually just read one in the workshop that was very good recently, the online workshop. And, absolutely. I don't know if we've ever had anybody really win with an animated script, but that'll probably happen at some point. But, I would really, animated scripts, you have to work very, very hard, and I would watch a lot of movies, all the great animated movies. I think people, it's funny, I think a lot of times, my experience is a lot of people that don't, that will bring animated scripts, submit them to BlueCat, or bring them to the workshops, and they have problems, and the scripts are struggling, and then you ask them, well, have you seen How to Train a Dragon, or have you seen Frozen, or have you seen, and they're like, no. And you're just like, okay, maybe you want to see everything that Pixar has made, and every great Disney movie and every great animated movie that's ever been made, and like look at them and look at them and look at them. I mean, if you can't find strong examples in the last 10, 15, 25 years, I mean, please, there's so much to model yourself after and to like look at and train yourself from. So very strong. We have really strong animated movies in the last 30 years, that we can draw on. Movies, maybe we're not in the golden era anymore, but the animated stuff, like we've had some incredible stuff. What was the really awesome movie that I love about the little robot? I always forget that. What's
Wall-E?
it? WALL-E. WALL-E is like a masterpiece.
Wait.
That's
Speaking of WALL-E,
yeah.
I doodle.
Oh, is it E.T.?
No, it's Eve.
It's the
And
guys
it's
from.
be WALL-E.
Oh, it's WALL-E. I love. Oh yeah.
Eve.
Oh, Eve. Okay, cool. See that?
Come on.
So that if you've probably seen that, but WALL-E is like a masterpiece. I mean, it's so good.
Okay. Could you share some of your favorite inciting incidents from movies?
Oh my gosh, it's so hard. It's such a hard question. Okay. Favorite inciting incidences. That's a weird one. Maybe we'll do a blog on that. That's a good one. We'll write that one down. We'll have to get one of our masterminds on that. Maybe I'll think of that. The first thing I thought of was The Third Man and how that gets started. But then I was also thinking like the entrance of Orson Welles in The Third Man, which is also very good. The inciting incident, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's a Wonderful Life is it's like when he's what's the inciting incident of It's a Wonderful Life? See, I don't even know where that falls. See, I think about like when is the story engaged, when it sort of opens up. But what's the inciting incident of Fury? I guess it's when that kid comes up, right? But no one's seen that yet, except if you saw it. But so what's a really okay? So I'm sorry, that's not a great answer. It's an interesting question though. What's strong inciting incidences? Very good. So we should maybe make a blog and do that and look at that. I'd like to actually try and do one of those on my own. I'll have to think about that one, and I'll write a little blog up about that. I'm more of an emotional engagement guy. I think emotional engagement starts on the first page. I think there's a plot. I mean, I know that the inciting incident and the engagement of the story and how things sort of get into gear, it's very important. But I usually think about the emotional content of a movie and how it engages us and how it engages us from the very beginning. So, but I'll actually think about that and I'll write that up because I want to, I can't come up with a good answer off the top of my head, but I bet if I thought about it, I could come up with some cool things and make little comments on it and stuff. That would be fun. So you got to write that one down. Okay.
When do you know that you've had enough feedback and it's time to do a final draft for submission?
Well, if you're submitting to BlueCat, I mean, you want to make it as best as you can, I guess, or you just want to get notes and you don't care yet, it has problems. If you give it to everybody and everybody can't give you any notes, that's when you send it to a producer or an agent or a film commission or, somebody you're like trying to start your career with or trying to initiate business with. You want to have everybody around you be like, this is the best. This is the best. Okay. I can't come up with anything. But as long as people are still but when you're submitting to a BlueCat or a contest, you can let go at any time, but I mean, honestly, it's when people stop giving you notes. That doesn't sound like a real answer, but it's the real answer because it actually ends up happening because I've had the experience. It's just that most people don't hang in there because it's very boring and it's frustrating to get to that place. It's a lot of work. We talked about that earlier. Hard work. Hard work is that. So is getting all the way there. So hopefully that answers your questions. But you can submit it to BlueCat at any time. But I honestly, and I'm serious about this. Don't send it to BlueCat if you don't want to. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter. It's like you're writing for yourself. Just send it to send it to Nichols in the spring or send it to some contest in January if you want to keep writing it. You don't need to. Nobody needs to send their script to BlueCat. It's about you getting better as a writer. And I'm not going to try and tell you that like everybody should send it to BlueCat no matter what. It's like, how are you going to learn anything? How are we going to get winners? Eventually, how are we going to get a stronger pool if everyone's not developing their craft and they're developing their voice? It's like you've got to know for yourself when it's ready. And if you're not ready to submit, if you don't think it's good enough, then don't send it to us because it's not going to win. You know what I mean? If you don't think it's ready, if you want to get our notes, we have great readers. It's like, go ahead. It's fine. But I never would encourage anybody, it's like, it's a competition. So if you're actually thinking like, I want to try and win and it's not ready, that's not a good habit to have. It's like, oh, I'll submit it anyways. I mean, it's just you're just going to get what you get, and people often say like, well, why didn't I hear back from that producer? I sent him my script. He asked for it. I never heard back from them. Well, it's not because they never read it or there are people in Hollywood are lame or they don't care or they're liars. And, maybe something like that did happen. But in reality, they might have opened up your script, and if it wasn't ready, it wasn't ready, and they probably know it's not ready too. I mean, they are professionals, right? That's why you're sending it to them, right? So, good questions tonight.
Okay, is there any hope for spec writers to break original content in Hollywood?
Absolutely. I mean, all you got to do is read Spec Scout, Deadline Hollywood, Hollywood Reporter. There's a Spec Scout does a spec report, I think. You can find out how many sales, how many original scripts, and a lot of the original scripts, spec scripts, have been sold by people that already are established. But there's plenty of people that are first-time writers, and they are selling stuff. And absolutely, just you want, if you're interested in doing that, then you should be aware of like when that happens in the industry and how often it does and who's selling them. I mean, BlueCat basically takes all of our top log lines and we send them to the list of all the people, all the managers and agents that have been involved in those sales, and that's who we go to. We try and go to those people that have been participants in those sales. So absolutely, I mean, it's happening, you know.
What was the first moment where you knew you wanted to work in film?
What was the first moment that I knew I wanted to work in film? Well, I made a film when I was in sixth grade. I was like sixth grade, I think, and I just made it with a Super 8 camera, and I was already acting, and I wrote that, and I didn't make another one after that for a while. I performed in plays and stuff, but that was already, so there was, I don't even remember that being, I remember the feeling of creative writing when I was in second grade, so I was like 7, and I remember the feeling of how cool it was to be able to make up a story, and so I remember that, and then I always just thought about making films, and I was writing plays for a little bit, and I always thought I wanted to write scripts, and then I got back into directing too. But I made a film when I was a kid, you know, so I was already thinking creatively with a camera and the fact that I could tell a story and make a movie. I wish I could remember how that felt or what that was, but I do remember writing it. Or like starting to write the first time and writing an original story, like a prose, like a little story, and being like, wow, this is so cool. So I remember that very clearly.
Okay, I am writing a character who is inarticulate, cocky, and obtuse. It's hard for me to write him without indicating authorial superiority. Sometimes his dialogue seems simple and makes me want to embroider it, but I think that's a bad idea.
Well, you're judging your character. You have contempt for your character. And that's why the character is sort of one note and the dialogue's flat, and because you have judgments about the character. Shakespeare never had judgments about his characters. Shakespeare forgave all of his characters, you know. I mean, he had compassion. He understood where they were coming from. He was interested in the human condition, and he wrote without judgment. So it's very, very important, and that's why, you know, really compelling work, you know, where there's antagonists and protagonists and everything in between, and when the author is able to sort of understand the points of view of everybody, then all the characters start to be more fully formed and more three-dimensional. So I would, that's what I would look at. I'd be like, why do you hate your character? Or why do you think that your character's a jerk? Maybe you can try and understand them. I mean, the short answer is you have to love all of your characters. Do you love all your characters? Are you protective of them? And that's sort of like, you gotta go, no way, you know, but can you understand, like, if you were a mother to your characters, like in a way that a mother sort of loves their children no matter what, like, how can you get unconditional about your characters? I'm not saying you do that because, for any other reason, then that's better for characterization. And it's better for the character's dialogue. So if you want to improve those things, then you forgive your characters, you have compassion for them, you stop judging them.
Okay. Someone is wondering, since shorts are more economically sound to produce, are there BlueCat shorts that have been made? I want to see some of them.
We just started last year. This is the second year. So we gave the award to Jennifer earlier this year, and I don't know if she's going to make her script. I think she was traveling, so we haven't had any. But I imagine as years go by that will happen. But we are only in our second year of the shorts prize, so we have yet to have that happen. But I imagine it will. Good question though. I mean, that's the reason why we're given 10 grand, because we're like, make the movie. 10 grand is a lot. Sometimes it's not enough to make a short, but it's a good start. 10 grand, and that's what we were always thinking. The prize is like you can even make your movie, and that's why we initiated the prize and made it so big right out of the gate.
And people are also wondering what's going on with Dog Bowl.
Dog Bowl is I just got back from Skywalker Ranch, where we mixed the sound for Dog Bowl, and we did a final mix of the sound on Monday. And we just locked the credits. We're getting the end credit sequence finished, and we're getting a color correction done, hopefully in the next week. So it will be done, I imagine, by Halloween, like totally done. We submitted to Sundance, so we're going to wait to hear from Sundance, and then we're going to submit to a few other places and hopefully everywhere eventually. But we're very happy with it. It came out really nicely. Can't wait for it to be out there so people can look at it and see it, and especially BlueCat entrance and stuff, just to see that I had made a short. I didn't make it so that, any reason other than I'm a filmmaker and I want to make another feature. So I wanted to make a short my goal was to make a short that was very professional looking, because I had made some experimental things, some lower budget. My first feature that I directed was an experimental project. And so I was like, I want to make a short that looks very commercial and very professionally done. And so that's what we've accomplished definitely with Dog Bowl. So I want to let people see it, because I also want people to think about the fact that they can write these things and it can help them in many ways. But we're very excited about it, and can't wait for people to see it. And we'll definitely, once we get through the first pass of festivals and stuff, we'll probably try and get it out a lot of different places so people can go and see it in their hometowns at various festivals and things, and hopefully maybe get it on television somewhere and get it everywhere, So, but thanks for the interest in Dog Bowl. We love Dog Bowl.
All right, I have two questions that are kind of similar. The first one is it taboo to request to direct your script if a deal is being made with a studio or producer? And the second question is, if the writer-director of a script is also an illustrator and has done production design artwork on the film, assuming they are positioning themselves as the director, are these materials ever included or welcomed in a submission to a rep?
Well, I think so. I mean, I don't think to a rep maybe, but you can talk about it if they like the writing, because the writing has to carry yourself in that relationship. But if you're ever going to go talk to a producer about your movie and you've got like boards and materials and media, I mean, that stuff is great. They love that. It shows how creative you are. It shows how committed you are. It shows how articulate you are, how imaginative, how driven you are. And it also will convey the story ideas of the movie. People have very different ideas, and both of them are right. You can insist on directing your piece and just insist on directing your piece and insist on directing your piece. And it might be the right thing for you to do, the wrong thing for you to do, but you can definitely do that. A lot of people have done that, and it's totally worked out for them. Lots of success stories where people said, no, I'm going to do this. I will do it. I will direct it for $1 if you let me. And this happened with John Huston. It happened with Woody Allen. He insisted on being the director. I mean, there's many stories of that. John Huston, I think, there's a lot of stories. And then there's people that, sort of shoot themselves in the foot, and if they had let somebody else direct it, it could have been a bigger movie, but they have less budget and less stars and stuff because they insist on, and then they're not ready to direct it, and it backfires on them. So there's really not a good answer. It's like, you can insist on directing, saying I'm directing this, and that's the contingency, and it could end up being like an incredible play, like a wonderful thing that's happened to you, like a really great power move, or it could end up being very foolish in the long run, and not sort of, because you could end up selling something where like, well, I really wanted to direct it, but I'm going to let it go, let them have it, because they're going to give me a check, somebody else going to make it, and then all of a sudden that'll lead you to another film. So there's arguments to be made on both sides, and anyone who tells you either one is the wrong doesn't know film history, because both of them have happened both ways, and both of them have worked and not worked. So good questions.
All right, I have a few questions about kind of your writing. The first one is, does the teaching and success of BlueCat get in the way of your writing?
No, because ultimately I've learned so much. I mean, I know so much about writing for myself and how I express myself because I'm constantly having to tell my students this, or I'm reading up. I've read, I don't know how many scripts I've read. I got to figure out, I have to figure out how many scripts I've read just in my workshops. I could probably figure that out, but then I've been judging BlueCat since 1998, so I don't have no idea how many scripts or how much screenwriting I've read. And so it's helped me. It's helped me considerably, just in the way that you study film. Everyone's told to read scripts. So it's definitely going to make me better. Now, does the responsibilities of BlueCat in teaching, am I not able to like just go to Starbucks all day long and write? Well, yeah, there's a trade-off there. And, but that's why I have all these other people working with me, because it allows me to be creative and be the creative face and the writer of BlueCat. I mean, I used to do it. Olivia, I used to farm out all the scripts and farm out all the analysis and everything else, and now Olivia does that. And Sarah Lynn used to do these things, and we, it used to just be me and Heather, and at the beginning it was just me. So over time we've been able to let people do what other people can do, and I continue to do what only I do, and that does allow me to continue to work as an artist, because because the success of Dogbowl, the success of everything going forward for me as an artist will always impact BlueCat, because BlueCat is going to eventually have more of a position in the industry where we will always be able to refer people, and we will be able to hook them up better and have more of a production capacity. Will we become producers or managers? Probably not, but but our stature will continue to improve, that we will be able to help people always, and that's always going to come off of me being able to have space. So BlueCat always tries to create space so that I can do what only I can do, which is make movies and judge the competition, teach, talk writing, and pick the winner, and do the stuff that only I can do, and that's and I'm just uniquely qualified to do that. So it's exciting. I mean, it's a trade-off, because well, if I didn't have BlueCat, I would have written more by now, but I would never have been as good. I'd never be as good as I am, however good that is. I simply would never be able to teach. I would not know anything about screenwriting. I can answer questions for 6 more hours. I probably would want to take a break, but it's all because of my experience with BlueCat, and so I wouldn't trade that at all. I'm totally and very grateful that BlueCat happened, and it's a joy to do it ultimately, because it's great to help people and with their writing.
All right. So, what script are you proudest of that you've written, and why?
Black Friday, which is a script that hasn't come out yet, and it's something I want to direct, and it's about a family and Black Friday and stuff. It's just a very personal film, but it's a very highly commercial film, and I think it's the most accomplished script I have, the one that's most completely done. I think it's really a successful script. It operates very well. It's a feature. It's just a very, very intimate, vulnerable script, but it's a big, huge Thanksgiving weekend Christmas movie. So it's just it's really, really like when I talk about personal independent, or not independent, but personal movies, people always think like, oh, he's talking about Love Liza or a Sundance movie or something like that. When, no, I'm talking about something that's available and your generosity is on display, and you've shared with us what you know about life and pain and family and love and all those things. And to be able to do that with something that's also has a commercial appeal to it, in that it would appeal to a large audience. It's like a pop song or something, that is really a great song. It's like a Beatles song or something. Not like that Black Friday is a Beatles song, but, when great art can also be very popular. I mean, that's very, it's kind of neat. And that's what I think, that's Black Friday. And so hopefully in the next 4 to 5, 6 years, that movie will come out. That's my goal. I'm working toward directing Black Friday. So we have time for one more.
We still have a lot of questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. We'll try and keep it short. The interview's shorter next time, so we have more time for questions.
Someone just a logistical wants to know when the next BlueCat competition will open up in 2015.
June 1st, probably. June 1st is probably June 1st or June 15th. We're trying to move. We want the submission period to be shorter. We're trying to move the submission period so it'll eventually be 4 months. We always want to end on November 15th, so we're moving toward July 15th. We want the submission period to be more shorter, so we're able to do more development outside of in the other 8 months of the competition. It allows us. It'll allow us to get stronger. But having the submission period be longer, it's a little bit. It's just not as effective. It doesn't allow us to do more things. So we're moving towards. We want to shrink it. 4 months. We're heading toward July 15th. Like this year, I think it opened June 1st, like officially. And so I don't know if we're going to make a jump to June 15th next year. We might wait a year, but we are moving toward that. So long answer to that question, but you guys, I can just keep talking about all the information, all the things about BlueCat, and we'd like it to get out there so that people can, if anybody has questions on message boards, we don't really have time to go on and talk to everybody in the forums and everything. So any of your writers groups and stuff, you can hear it and be like, I heard it on his Ustream. He said this and this and this is why and everything else. And we really want to be transparent like that. So and talk about our thinking and how we're trying to make it better for you guys. So very good. So we're out of time. We might have a Ustream. We're going to try and have one next Wednesday, but maybe we'll have another one very soon, like between that, maybe this weekend, maybe Saturday or Monday in the afternoon or something. I know you have a lot of questions and stuff. Please email us and let us know if you're like, can you have a Ustream at this time? This is not a good time. Maybe we can do one in the morning, like for all the people in London or whatever and overseas. And, if we start at 7 in the morning, or something like that, I'd be more than willing to do that. I get up early. So let us know when you want to do this. We know we have a deadline coming up. There's a lot of questions people are asking. And, we really want to do this. So maybe we'll plan to have another just Gordy question and answer thing, maybe over the weekend or maybe next Monday morning or something like that. And we'll keep trying this. So, but thank you very much. It was another good one. Keep letting us know what needs to work or changing and everything. We're very rough. Hopefully this is helpful. And what do we need to tell them about? Anything? We have a workshop coming up in Jacksonville, Florida, everybody. And we're trying to get the word out about that. We've never been to Jacksonville, and it's December 12th. When is it? December 13th? Anyways, it's in December. If you have any information about or any ideas about Jacksonville, let us know. Anyways, well, thank you so much. Olivia, so you can say goodbye. Olivia will be back next time. If you have any questions about readers and Sarah Lynn.
It's the 13th.
December 13th.
Jacksonville, December 13th.
Jacksonville, December 13th. We're coming to Florida, baby. Anyways, well, very good. Any other questions? Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you really soon. We will have this. If you missed any of the beginning of it, we have all of the Ustream stuff on our YouTube site. Right? It's on our YouTube page, right? Is that where it's uploaded?
For what? Yeah, it's on our YouTube, and I'm actually going to start archiving them on our Ustream page too, just so you can go back and see.
You can go back and listen to them. There are a lot of questions and answers. We had a nice interview last week, and we'll keep bringing stuff, and let us know what you like, what you don't like, and everything else. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight, guys, and we will get some more of your questions. You know, I'll go in and we'll make some videos off of those questions we did last time, and just keep checking the newsletters. We're going to be sending you a lot of newsletters in the next 3 weeks. So bear with us as we get the word out about BlueCat and stuff, because we want to get as many scripts as we can get, because we want to find great scripts. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time. Okay. All right. Bye.